Welcome back to another high-level match of StarCraft 2. What I've got for you today is a best of 3 series where in game number 1 we have a Terran player. Alright, sending out an SCV right at the very start of the game. Spawning right here in the top right-hand corner, playing with the blue Terran SCVs. We have the Terran player who has been playing some of the most fun StarCraft 2 lately. A lot of cheese, a lot of battlecruisers. Of course that means we're looking inside of the main base of SpeCial. And where exactly did that SCV go? Oh, I thought for a second this was the natural right here. I thought for a second we were looking at that little nuke right over there. Okay, no, that would be insane. Second SCV also coming in this direction. Alright, so, spawning right here in the bottom left-hand corner, we have another channel favorite playing here with the red Zerg drones. We're looking at Scarlett's main hatchery. Alrighty, even a third. Okay, so SpeCial is starting off this particular series with a little bit of aggression. And with a little bit of aggression, I mean a lot of bit of aggression. A lot of aggression, as you might say. This is basically the most aggressive opener that you can go for as a Terran player, while still being able to go for a reasonable amount of economy as well. Now, I say reasonable, you can see that SpeCial right here, he's trying desperately to saturate his main base. He'll be able to squeeze out an orbital command, but no gas geysers or anything along those lines anytime soon. Question is Scarlett going to scout this? Well, she will spot it eventually, I would imagine. Yeah, so this will still be helpful, because... Okay, well, this is a little bit weird. You shouldn't see a couple SCVs right there hanging out, yeah. I think she knows exactly what she's playing against right now. This will still be helpful, because she should be able to save up at least a couple of these larvae. Usually you want to, you know, spend those onto drones immediately, but now she'll save their larvae here to go for a bunch of Zerglings as soon as she can. The problem is, you're gonna have to pull drones as well, and she doesn't know whether or not it's a double Rex or a triple Rex or... you know, any of those small details that really do make a difference. Now, the boys are already being pulled right here from the main base mineral line. We're gonna go straight after those units. Good micro so far, though, by SpeCial, trying to target fire down the low HP units, and he's doing an excellent job at exactly that. That one drone will escape eventually. Most importantly, though, the bunker, okay, it will get shut down because Zerglings were already working on that. There is an Overlord in a very spicy location, right? Terran players love sniping that down, but Scarlett eventually does get rid right here of that bunker. Spinecrawler coming up here as well, 2 queens available. It's important not to inject with those. So injecting with the queens would be a mistake. You usually want to either go for a creep tumor or just save up the energy so you actually... She does go for an inject. I think that's a misplay, no? I'm not sure about the inject. I think usually you want to save up energy on these queens to try and make sure that you can actually transfuse. Maybe though, okay, maybe she's under the assumption, and I think she may very well actually be right, that SpeCial has already given up on this attack. Yeah, that's the only thing that really makes sense here. Okay. You know what? If that's the case, I actually don't mind it at all. He's still producing though out of these barracks, which is what's throwing me off a little bit. She will see additional Marines popping out. At some point, these units are gonna have to... Well, these structures, that is, they're gonna have to fly back home, right? The only reason to continue producing over here is if you do want to follow this up. Link speed finally starts up right here for the Canadian Zerg. She's gonna have to be so careful, though. Okay. Yeah, no, the boys are being pulled. There was a... Hold up right now. I'm gonna go back for just a second. Was this scouted? SpeCial. Playing a very dirty game. Oh, going for the pretend expand. So this command center, well, we just saw it, it gets cancelled. So, yeah, all of the SCVs are being pulled from the main base, and then this command center gets cancelled just to make sure that SpeCial can squeeze out even more Marines. This is incredibly dirty because there won't be a follow-up scout. The Overlords are gone at this point. Obviously, the Zerglings won't have link speed, so they can't really scout very easily either. That means that the SCV train, it won't be scouted until it already gets on top of the creep. Scarlett right now, ooh, even getting cornered with a couple of those links. The spine is repositioning, but this is really, really bad right now here for the Zerg player. Now the SCVs show up as well. They are here, they're ready to fight. Maybe they're not the most powerful Terran unit out there, but they can certainly soak up a lot of damage. GG is called as SpeCial wins game number 1. And just like that, we already find ourselves on Neo-Humanity. Okay. This is a map, of course, with those cheeky golden minerals, with the forward expansion, the high-yield Vespene Geyser, the rocks in the middle of the map. This is definitely a map Okay, now we're just gonna go for a wall up here. This is definitely a map where you can go for some cheeky strategies, for some very interesting builds. So like I said, SpeCial has been very fond of battlecruisers lately, although, yeah, he's also gone for quite a few barracks on the other side of the map, as we've already seen in this series as well. It seems like it's the two extremes, you know? Either we have the Marines and the SCVs, or we have the battlecruisers. The lowest tier units and the absolute highest tier units right there for the Terran as well. Anyways, we'll see what he decides to go for right here on this map, as we do have a barracks at the front. This is something that the Korean Terrans like to go for. Okay, most of the time the Korean Terrans do like to go for the double barracks approach. Now, with a second gas at this point in the game, that wouldn't really make a lot of sense. Alternatively, I suppose, you can still go for the factory over here. You can still go for the reactor and then do the big switcheroo. Just a little bit less safe, I suppose, than building it right over here on the high ground, but it's gonna allow you to hide stuff much easier here as the Terran. And obviously, well, once the wall is up, it's gonna be quite difficult for the Zerg player to break. So far, though, standard opener right here from Scarlett, as she does go for the hatchery, into the gas geyser, and then eventually into the spawning pool as well. This is the gold standard for Zerg. Every once in a while there is a pool first, I suppose, but most of the time, especially at this level of play, it is going to be hatch into gas, into spawning pool, because theoretically speaking, it's the best opener, right? Assuming your execution is perfect, it is the best opener. Usually 16 supply on the hatchery, 18 supply on the gas geyser, and then 17 supply on the spawning pool. It'll allow you to, well, go for anything. But again, your micro and everything else has to be perfect. Scarlett right now scouts the timing of the factory, and that is already a little bit of an odd timing. Normally, Terrans will go for a supply depot into a barracks, and then eventually some gas as well, of course, and then a command center on the low ground. With the timing of this particular factory, yeah, Scarlett right now is going to confirm this as well, there is no CC building yet. So, yeah, okay, SCV blocking this third base from coming up as well. Eventually, the CC does start up. Did Scarlett see this? No, she did not. Anyways, this does make the game a little bit more complex, though, because all of the timings that Terrans usually go for, they're gonna all hit a little bit quicker, right? They're all gonna come out a little bit earlier. Okay, now drone. Okay, the drone is gonna hide on over here. Can he make it? So, if you have the SCV hugging the gas geyser, you can't actually start up that extractor. So Scarlett wants to cancel it right now, I'm sure, but yeah, okay. You have to be brave enough. If you know that the Reapers are located over here, I guess everything is fine. And eventually, the third hatchery will start up. Really? That's the SCV that was blocking the third base. SpeCial is going for a starport in the middle of nowhere. Interesting. I mean, this is technically not that great of a spot, I suppose, but it's also a very unlikely position to get scouted, because, well, when you've already gone for the structures at the natural wall-off, right? Why would you not go for, I don't know, a starport inside of the main base, especially if you want to go for that battlecruiser style that SpeCial has been so fond of? Okay, now it's gotta be a Liberator. That makes a lot more sense. But especially if you want to... Really? Are we... The only reason to keep the SCV on, okay, yeah, we are gonna go for a fusion core. I love SpeCial's playstyle lately, man. This is so silly, but think about it. Is Zerg really gonna check this location? So, okay, let's talk about that for a little bit. If you have these Reapers out, right? You have these Hellions out. This is more than we normally have. Triple Reaper, not the convention. Beautiful grenade there as well. You didn't see the creep tumor, obviously. But when you have this group of units out, where is Zerg going to keep their units? Well, they're going to be keeping them on creep. Maybe there will be a Zergling scout to the front, right? To check if there's like a third CC started up. Maybe you'll try and fly the Overlord into the main base. Something along those lines, but everything should be a-okay. As far as the Overlord positioning goes, I don't think you want to sec these units, SpeCial. Careful now, dude. It's going very deep into the creep. Normally, you have the Overlord's position to lead in front of the creep tumors, so you can see whether or not it's safe to spread them forward. So that's exactly what Scarlett is doing over here as well. She's moving those Overlords bit by bit. And even though technically this should be scouted very easily, there is, well, a battlecruiser now coming up, but sadly a big supply block right here for SpeCial. That does hurt him quite a bit. That's also apparently the moment, though, where he decides to dive into the Zerg's mineral line. Well, that is one way to open up supply and to make sure that that battlecruiser starts, well, building. Careful now. Ooh, careful now, Scarlett. Okay, well, very brave right there, sending those units back to mining very quick. Couple transfuses to make sure as many units here stay alive, but also to make sure that those units go back to mining very, very rapidly. A couple follow-up Hellions here too, just to be obnoxious. Okay. I think SpeCial has given up on trying to play the most optimal strategies, you know? He's very much so going for build orders that makes sense after you've learned the rules for the last 12 years of StarCraft 2, right? You've been trying very hard to learn all the rules and play them by the book, and then at some point you realize, wait a second, this free-flowing style, not only is it a lot more fun, it's also very powerful, because the Zerg player is not gonna expect a battlecruiser here, right? I mean, I imagine at the very least that this is not something that Scarlett is gonna pick up on. Maybe she'll see this eventually, but this is such an aggressive position. Alright, well, there's the battlecruiser. Obviously, when you have it this far forward, now Scarlett sees it. Yeah, immediately the overlord goes back. It goes into the wrong direction. But obviously, when you have it this far forward, you're also going to be able to use that tactical jump defensively. Lair, however, is going to finish up here momentarily for Scarlett. Second battlecruiser now also building, by the way, in the middle of the map. The Lair is nice because you do need a Spire against this style. SpeCial will basically never go for a single BC. So if you know that it's going to be multiple battlecruisers, it's a great idea. Now Scarlett sees it, by the way. But it's a great idea to, yeah, go for that Spire play so you can get some Corruptors out. Scarlett, though, for now, mostly just focusing on making sure that she's got enough economy out. More and more drones do end up dying here. Those Hellions are being sacrificed for the greater good. Zerglings and Roaches, though, now on the other side of the map, and obviously Zerglings and Roaches, even though the wall is a little bit messy, they don't shoot up. Zerglings can apparently go in, but the Roaches a little bit too thick. They're just trying to make sure that the battlecruiser stays home, right? Trying to make sure that the battlecruiser is going to stay here for as long as possible. And this is a nice little attack right here by Scarlett for sure. It may feel counterintuitive to go for an attack when you're up against battlecruisers and you have nothing that shoots up, but this buys you a whole lot of time. Spire is coming up. But on top of that, on the production tab, right around the same time, the Fusion Core is doing its little Fusion Core dance as it's researching the weapon refit. Triple battlecruiser production, at least now, is possible. New BC inside of the main base of the Zerg. 9 SCVs did go down, by the way, on the other side of the map. That is really lovely. That Spire, where is it? Okay, the Spire is over here. Ideally, so this was spotted just now by SpeCial. Ideally, you do jump on top of it. A couple of Hellions here also roasting some drones. Ideally, you do jump on top of it with your battlecruisers to try and make sure that you kill that Spire. If you kill the Spire, it always kind of feels like you effectively kill the Zerg. Because if they can't get anti-air up, it's incredibly difficult to beat those battlecruisers in big numbers with just a bunch of queens. Right? Technically, Hydras, I guess, are an option, but that only is an option if you've never tried it. If you've ever played Zerg and you tried making Hydras work against battlecruisers, you'll know what I'm talking about. Those units are absolutely awful when it comes to fighting the BCs. You really do need overwhelming numbers. It's just not a reasonable response, so you really do need Corruptors. Scarlett, however, is going to finish up the Spire, so that's super important. I would love to see a round of Corruptors coming up. Queens here just transfusing to the best of their abilities. There's more and more Hellions. Don't mind if they do. While the Queens are occupied fighting the BCs and transfusing one another, we do have a little bit of counter-aggression as well. But these drones are, well, they're hurting. But we do see a lot of Hellion losses too, right? So yeah, 23 Hellions have gone down so far in this game. That is a lot. Okay, there's the Yamato gun taking down a Queen. Okay. It's important to keep the battlecruisers alive, but now the Corruptors are coming up. And this is now a more playable game than it was earlier, right? Definitely not a great situation right here for Scarlett, but she managed to hold on, and now she has all of the tech that she really needs. So resources lost-wise, you can see right here that, yeah, it's good for the Terran, right? Don't get me wrong, but it's not absolutely amazing. These Hellions, though, man, I feel like the Hellions have done more damage than the battlecruisers. Yeah, even though they've been sacrificed, every single one of them has probably killed about 4 drones on average. Okay, well, that math doesn't math. But still, they've killed about 2 drones on average, I guess. And that is still very respectable on top of all of those Zerglings and whatnot that they've killed as well. We are getting to the point right now where the battlecruisers are a very, very real threat. We have a Raven in the mix as well. Now, as you guys know, I love Ravens. Their anti-armor missile can be absolutely phenomenal. I don't think we're gonna really use it other than that for, well, obviously as a detector, it's very nice as well, but auto turrets, interference matrix, not so much. I think the anti-armor missile, especially if it's like a bunch of clumped up corruptors like that, it can do a lot of damage. There he goes. Love that move. Now suddenly, even though it doesn't do much for the Yamato gun, now suddenly these corruptors are gonna have to fly away. They're gonna have to disengage until that orange paint is gone. Yeah, look at that. SpeCial just hunting this down. Once again, we have a little counterattack, but more and more battlecruisers are ready to defend against that as well. Nicely done right here by SpeCial. Yamato guns are going down left, right, and center. This is GG. Yeah. Yeah, that previous best of 3 series, it was a very quick one. I know a lot of you like to watch these videos while eating dinner or while eating lunch, so let's do another. So spotting right here in game number 1 in the top right-hand corner, we once again have SpeCial and his opponent, this time around the fellow Terran player with the red SCVs. We're looking at ByuN's main command center. Alrighty, a little bit of build order variety it looks like. SpeCial going for the faster command center on the low ground. ByuN going for one eventually as well, as he has opted to go straight into a reactor, it seems. So, especially when you start pumping out those Reapers 2 at a time, that is a clear indicator that you want to get aggressive. The thing is, right, ByuN is incredibly good when it comes to that early game control. I'm sure he's aware of the fact that SpeCial has been going for some special build orders, some spicy strategies. Wouldn't be surprised at all if ByuN has decided, you know what, I'm gonna go for not only a very aggressive build, but also a pretty defensive one too, right? Because you get a lot of units out, so you can use them defensively too. Now that the Terran player in blue, though, hasn't shown up yet, it's apparently time to rally everything across the map. Cyclone is coming up right here for SpeCial, so that is super nice. That Cyclone is gonna be fantastic when it comes to defending against whatever ByuN brings across the map. Starport is gonna finish up for both players here as well, though, eventually. I'm assuming we're gonna go for some Raven play right here. But first, let's see how good the control of ByuN is going to be. ByuN, of course, known as Micro Jackson. That is way too clumped up right there. That blue army, yeah, taking a ton of splash damage from both the Reaper grenades, but also from that Hellion in red. You gotta be careful here, SpeCial. Anyways, now the Cyclone pops down, and that Cyclone is incredibly powerful. You gotta make sure it doesn't get cornered, but other than that, it should be able to push back basically whatever it is that the Terran player wants to throw at you. That being said, this is a lot of units. We're up to 6 Reapers already, with 2 Hellions here. Cyclone needs to go back home, and it does come back home. A Raven right now spawns as well, and that auto turret is gonna be a necessity. Let's see how good the control is going to be. Nice targeting right there by ByuN. SpeCial trying to bring it back to safety as the auto turret does get dropped down, but not really in the optimal location. SCVs right now very far away from their, well, I wanted to say very far away from their mineral line, but not really helping out in this battle either. That's a ton of workers going down. Good grenade control right there by ByuN, as he just straight up obtains the victory. Next up, we find ourselves on Gresven, and this time around, SpeCial starts off the game by sending an SCV straight across. Second one now also following the first. Supply depot built very close to the mineral line, so this SCV has to give up as little mining as possible. We're once again going for a very, very cheesy build order. Notice that SpeCial has barely been able to add on any SCVs. He will go for a refinery here eventually, because, well, usually you do want to go for that Reaper play, but there's no denying that SpeCial wants to obtain the victory here as quickly as possible, or at the very least deal a crippling amount of damage. Let's see. ByuN going double gas in the main base. Will he go for an SCV scout this time around? I mean, he's not really... He never really strikes me as an SCV scout kind of guy, so probably not. He'll probably go for the Reaper. That does mean, though, that he will not find out exactly what he's playing against until a little bit later, and ByuN is going to have to rely on that control once again. Honestly, in the previous game, his control looked absolutely superb. So, yeah, if he can do a similar thing once again, he should theoretically be okay. But being in the defensive position, it's not really, at least in my mind, right? It's not really the position where ByuN wants to be. ByuN is very much so the kind of guy who thrives in aggression. But when it comes to defensive Terran play, at least in my mind, I usually favor someone like Maru or maybe even Oliveira. Oliveira has looked incredibly good when it comes to both aggression as well as defense, by the way. So maybe Oliveira is going to be able to climb that ladder even higher. But anyways... Here's the Reapers, coming up 2 at a time on the side of, well, ByuN. It's very close to his main base. No CC on the low ground here for ByuN just yet, so that's good for him. He hasn't even saturated the second gas yet, so that is something to keep in mind. This ByuN is looking around right now. Okay, he will go for a command center on the low ground. He's looking around everywhere. Okay, well, I think he wanted to go for a CC on the low ground, but right now he should certainly not start that up, as he does see these Reapers coming in from a strange angle, and that can really only mean one thing. Hellion coming up right here, Reaper still building, second gas still not saturated right here for ByuN, who really wants to go for a command center. Now, right now is definitely not the time. Okay, well, we're gonna go for the... Okay, I thought he wanted to go for one on the low ground, because Terran players love doing that, but I actually much prefer it this way. ByuN going for the CC in the main base. Very confident, apparently, when it comes to his unit control. Not really concerned about these Reapers. When you have the high ground advantage, though, yeah, you should always be able to get that first line of attack in, and you can always throw up a grenade a little bit faster. Honestly, so far, SpeCial's getting shut down really hard. He's going for his own factory at home as well, but obviously, there's no command center to be seen yet here for SpeCial, who needs to get something done with these units. Now, once again, he's gonna try and get up to the high ground, but ByuN is waiting there, immediately throws up grenades, and he's trying to deal as much splash damage as possible with those Hellions. And just like that, we have an even faster 2-0 in a best-of-3 series.